everybody, and welcome to Ludgate's Member Spotlight. Today I'm joined by Aoife Deane of HappyWeight. Aoife, thank you so much for sitting on the couch with us.
No problem.
And it's the 1st of 2023, so we've got our coffees and we're well set up for our conversation. So Aoife, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, HappyWeight.
Well, I'm a registered dietitian and my business is HappyWeight.ie. I mainly work with clients one-to-one to help them with their relationship with food and with their weight. I'm also a nutritional speaker, so I speak in like schools or businesses or community groups, and I have online courses as well.
Fantastic. So you have two separate programs. I was doing a little bit of homework. Tell me the difference about the programs that you offer.
So I felt it was really good to offer different services at different price points. So, you know, obviously working with me one-to-one for 12 weeks is a certain price point, but I wanted to make the information available to people with different budgets, because a lot of people actually struggle with their eating and with overeating. So I've one course that's the Love Food program, and that's a series of videos and worksheets and recordings to just really unlearn all the kind of maybe negative or unhelpful things you've learned about food and nutrition. Okay. And then Happy Hypno Weight is purely just hypnosis recordings. So you listen to them before you go to bed and you start altering the way you look at your body and your eating and get better habits that way.
Oh, that's amazing. So what are you seeing as the output then of the program, the hypnosis? I'm really interested in that. So they haven't listened to this before. How long is the recording that they listen to? Yeah,
I forgot to say I am a clinical hypnotherapist as well. So that's another part of my business. So they vary. So it's just covering all aspects, because ultimately we all have a lot of built up negative beliefs about our food, our eating, ourselves, our ability to be healthy, our ability to lose weight. And that's what's stopping us making healthier choices, because we kind of can't be bothered if we don't believe it will actually lead to anything. So all these recordings are kind of coming at it from multiple different angles, so that you can kind of start seeing yourself in new eyes and start feeling more confident and, you know, making choices that like really work for you, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's really important in terms of, just from my own perspective, busy working mother, 3 kids at home, trying to set the foundations right for them. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, right, I don't actually have time to be peeling the veg when I go home, because we're not going to be eating it till 6:30 or 7:15, and the youngest goes to bed at 7:30. Do you touch on that in terms of how people can build in, you know, healthy eating into their lifestyles and the best ways to go about it?
Yeah, 100%, because I think it's just about wanting the best for yourself, or not wanting to screw yourself up too much. And like, unfortunately, we have a bit of a culture where, you know, you're treating yourself if it's a cheat day. You're treating yourself if you're getting loads of junk. And it's like, there's nothing really that treaty about having low energy and, you know, putting on weight and being lethargic and leaving yourself open to diseases and ailments and aging faster and all of those things. So I'm like, we have to look at things holistically. So as in, you're not being loving to yourself either. If you do have kids, you do have a busy job, and like you say, you have to get up an hour earlier or something to chop vegetables. Like, that's not helping your health in a holistic way. Yeah. So I think there's always a halfway house, and I suppose every different client I work with has a completely different life and background and schedule. And I just honestly think it's that we're giving ourselves the best shot. So we don't need, like, first of all, not everything has to be cooked by us. There are a lot of, you know, pre-chopped or, you know, soups out there, or different ways of getting veg and stuff that, you know, don't actually take much time.
They're taking the work out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Making it more easily accessible, to give the rainbow on the plate.
Exactly.
I mean, one thing that I avail of is the chopped carrots. I get them in Aldi. They're very handy.
Yeah.
Pop them in, they boil away, and you know, by the time that the fish or the meat is cooked, they're ready.
Yeah.
So I suppose, that's very handy. And even the mashed potato, you can come across the mashed potato and it's
exactly.
perfect.
I kind of think that I would personally believe that, like, that's the thing we should throw luxury at, the fruit or veg or whatever, because, you know, we have to rebrand them for ourselves. Because if we follow the kind of cultural message, fruit and veg is boring, it's that thing you should eat or whatever, but then you're just screwing yourself over, you know. You're, like I say, you're not going to be maybe the weight or the size or the health or the energy or the mental health that you want if we're not having enough fruit and veg. So I think it's up to us to sell ourselves on it. So if you can find a yummy you know, brand of some fruit and veg, or like if every so often, like I know everyone's feeling the pinch now at the moment, but just like the odd time if you were kind of to get like a mango from M&S or something, or you know, like I think that's where we kind of should invest some luxury in as well, is selling ourselves on lovely fruit and veg and stuff like that, because even in mainland Europe, like I don't think they think it's a duty to eat vegetables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just make them so gorgeous and sexy and like with
What they can
lovely
do with
fats
them, yeah.
and, you know, really gorgeous. Whereas that's another thing kind of here, because we've so much diet culture, you're either eating really boring salads and really, you know, boring veg, or you're like, screw it, let's get a takeaway. And it's like, there is a world in between where you can have really tasty, flavoursome dishes with lots of, you know, veg and stuff that's adding to you, you know.
Yeah. And are you seeing that change ever so slightly? You spoke there about the diet culture, and I suppose we would have seen that in the 80s and the 90s. It was these kind of diets, whether it was a cabbage diet or, you know, some other type of diet. Are you seeing more people exercising and kind of getting that holistic approach, but still needing the help and the support in terms of choosing the right vegetables? Because it's not just one component that somebody has to focus on. If you're exercising and you're eating rubbish food, the impact that you'll have will be negated by that.
Yeah.
So are you seeing people kind of trying to build in, and I suppose it's being led a little bit like the Operation Transformations of the world, where it's being put up on our screens, whether it be by RTE or any other, and it's there, it's in front of them. They're kind of like, right, I need to get out there, I need to get walking, or I need to get running, I need to get a little bit more activity into my day. So are you seeing that shift from the diet culture?
Well, I think people are quite conflicted because a lot of the TV programs are quite extreme approaches, and like I personally can't watch them. I used to be 3 stone heavier. I used to have disordered eating, so I'm like, this is production value. This is absolutely not in the best interest of the person at all, because this is like short and sharp, and the minute the cameras are turned off, they're not going to have built any habits.
Great
and the
point.
habits were absolutely unsustainable for their life and schedule. And then, you know, I suppose I work with a lot of people that are quite conflicted because they know dieting isn't the answer, but equally they're not happy with where they are either. You know, so I think like I do think it is starting, and I think you do kind of start seeing some positive adverts now about, like, you know, like say exercising, like making it a fun thing, like only doing it if you're doing like belly dancing or Zumba or pole dancing or whatever thing is on, you know, that could be a bit of crack.
There's so many options.
And I'm talking about West Cork, like I'm talking about stuff that I go to, and I'm like, we're in West Cork, so I'm like, you know, I suppose making stuff your own. And I suppose another thing is a lot of people would have grown up with dieting moms, or that message of good food, bad food, and that really doesn't help anything, you know. So,
and I suppose it's consistency, isn't it? Consistency is key. Not just picking up the 15 minutes exercise, you know, for 2 or 3 weeks in January. Keep it going and build on it, you know, month on month. And if you have a bad day, it's fine.
Well,
you know, the 80-20 rule is there for that bad day. You know, you can have your pizza, but the next day then, you know, bring back in the veg and would you kind of...
I would, because
that?
I think people put too much emphasis on the short term, whereas basically your weight and your health is your whole average. So you could go on a juicing diet for 2 weeks, but it doesn't matter if it's going to be, you know, bananas or your old usual for the rest of the year, you know. So those short, sharp things aren't ultimately bringing us to a better place health wise. So it is that you're building a better average. And then, like you say, as in, like I work a lot with like intuitive eating and connected eating, and you know, your body is not, your body is well able to manage a pizza, basically. You know, there's no negative consequences about eating a pizza. And so I would say it's more about how good are you willing to feel, or how much are you willing to screw yourself over. Because obviously, say if you're only eating pizza, or if you're eating pizza very often in the week to the detriment of live and nourishing foods, you're screwing yourself over. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are more kind of tired or unwell, or, you know, you're not functioning at your optimum if you're not being well fueled. You know, this is gonna cause an effect somewhere. So I think it's about, like, there are absolutely no bad foods, but we do all have our limits. So I would say probably like one thing that's super important is when you're eating, if you notice that the taste like was amazing at the start and now it's just a bit meh, stop. And if the thing was going into your belly feeling amazing and now your belly is like on the turn that it's like, okay, I'm a bit stuffed, like listen, because you know, that's then the opposite of the kind of disordered eating that it's like, it's a cheat day, or I'm allowed it, or this is a treat. Like, make your physical comfort the most important thing.
Yes. But I'm kind of amazed. I suppose we're now taken to the kitchen. We've incredible produce here in Ireland, especially in West Cork, close to source. Great butchers, great fish producers, and you can actually make a tastier meal at home. What do they call them? Fakeaways.
Oh yeah.
And I made an incredible burger, if I do say so myself, on Saturday, and I didn't feel too guilty afterwards because I knew what was being used. I knew that I was putting all the right things into it, and it was good produce, and it tasted amazing. And I didn't need to go to the chipper. I was very satisfied with it.
Yeah.
And it was my little addition of a double burger.
Well,
But it was nice.
We're spoiled for options, and like I really would keep rating everything physically wise, like as in, did that make you feel physically better than that? Did it make you feel physically worse than that? You know what I mean? And keep rating it that way, because there genuinely is room for literally anything in your diet. But equally, if there's anything that you're only having to the detriment of other nutrients and foods, that's the stuff that makes your body have to work a bit harder, you know? And
I can imagine that that's incredibly important as well for your clients. They're able to pick up the phone, that they have you there as a sounding board. You know, that they're getting their list together maybe at the end of a week and saying, right, I did this, was this right? You know, so that they're creating habits on foot, that they're educating themselves as they go along, or you're educating them as they go along.
Well, they've plenty of me, because I'm on the phone to them, or in person as well in my office sometimes, twice a week for 45 minutes to an hour. And you know, they do keep food journals, but it's actually more me teaching them about them, because I would have also grown up in a household where it was like, weight problems are inevitable, you know, or we need to be controlled, we have to control things, otherwise, you know, we put on loads of weight. And you've no belief in yourself, you've no trust, you've no trust and belief in your body either. Your body is the enemy that's trying to, you know, make you eat too much or whatever. So it's actually, you know, it was amazing for me. Obviously, I wouldn't be working in it otherwise, but also it's really amazing helping clients to start like helping them learn about their own body, actually, because as in like, and now it's been a long time since I've given people structured diet plans, and the longer it's been, the more I'm like, that makes literally no sense. Like as in, there is not an expert in the world that could tell you whether, say, a toasted sandwich or an orange would feel nicer in your stomach now. Like, I don't know how full or hungry you are. Like, I don't know your tastes and stuff. And
oh, excellent point.
So that's kind of almost like prescribing, oh, you should go to the loo at 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Like, as in, for optimum running of your body, you need to listen a lot. It's kind of like when people really love their kids. You know, they're not going to just read a book on how to raise kids and then follow that to a T. It's kind of like, because you want them to turn out so well, or you love them so much, it's going to be super individualized. And so it's the same with our body. It's like, the more we wanted to do well, the more super individualized we need to be about, I don't care if the whole rest of the world says this is good for me. I don't like the taste of it. So clearly my body is saying it is not for me. You know?
So then tell us a little bit about who you work with. Do you work with schools, clinics, corporates? What's the client base like? So
my one-to-one clients are an absolute mix from all over, and a lot of my clients would have resonated with my story. So like I said, I was 3 stone heavier than I am now, and I had binge eating disorder, I had bulimia for a while. And I was always on diets, and so when you're always on diets, you know, you're always like, okay, last cheat day before the diet begins, and you know, okay, the diet is over, cheat day. And so that led me to being 3 stone overweight. So a lot of my clients would be kind of in that zone where that story resonates with them, and they want help out of that too. And then then like I say, I do talks in kind of, you know, companies will invite me in to do, you know, they might be having health week or something like that. And you know, they want some nutrition talks, and I'm very flexible on that because people will have very different, needs. So obviously my interest is kind of more like disordered eating and eating disorders and all of that. But like, I have the qualifications, like I have a master's in nutritional medicine that I'm finishing now. So like if people kind of wanted like any topic covered, I can do that for them. And then,
so you're not busy. You've got the masters on the side as well as running your own business.
I know. I'm like, I often think, what the hell was I doing signing up to masters? But like, I'm on the home straight now. It should all be done in 2 months.
Good.
So,
well, congratulations on that. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, very good. So then the goals for the business. How long have you been in business actually?
7.5 years.
Oh wow!
I'm quite proud of that. Yeah,
well done.
Yeah. I don't know where the time went.
Yeah, and you've been in Ludgate since 2018.
Yeah, so I started my business in London when I was living there, and then I was kind of over and back. So it might have actually been. Actually, it was before 2018. It was maybe more 2017, 2016. I was coming to Ludgate because I had a time when I was kind of half in Ireland, half in London.
Okay.
So I'd see my clients in London, but then be here the rest of the time, and I'd use Ludgate, and so I've forgotten the question.
So about 2016, 2017, you started using Ludgate.
Yes.
And what would you say is the main advantage or the main benefit of using a hub or the likes of a Ludgate for your business?
Well, I've learned the hard way that I've had every type of beautiful setup at home for working, and doesn't matter. I'm a people person. I want to be around people, and I feel really hard done by if I'm on my own in a room or on my own in a house having to work all day, and especially when I'm self-employed, because I do think one of the kind of lures of being self-employed is that you'll have more flexibility, more freedom, more fun, whatever. So I'm all about Ludgate. I'm all about co-working spaces, because sometimes sometimes I am in here and it's actually I'm not bothering everyone. I am keeping my head down and working, but it is the possibility to go talk to someone. It's the possibility of having the crack or have a coffee, or
even just being surrounded by people sometimes.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. And I literally because you were mentioning some of the questions you might ask me, and I was like, I literally cannot even list how many parts of my business have been positively affected by co-working spaces. First of all, because of the hours that I put in. So I've learned that even if, before, if it was say 2:30, I'd be like, well, it's too late to go down to Ludgate now, the day is over. And now I go, because I'm kind of if I get 2 or 3 hours of solid, uninterrupted work, that's massive. Whereas if it was just at home, I just find something else to do, especially if it's self-motivated work, that it's not a client on the phone, obviously. It's the other bits and bobs to do with the business,
and you're getting it cleared in that quantum of time, and it's nice then you're walking out through the doors and you
productive
feel energized,
exactly.
you can go home then and enjoy your evening.
Because it's all those loose ends that when you don't have a boss breathing down your neck is kind of you need to be self-motivated for all that stuff, and it's easier than in a nice environment. And then the other thing is I was thinking, my accountancy software is, I was chatting to an English guy that was here many years ago now, and he was like, Wave is a great software, it's free, it's this, that. Ollie, one of the guys who used to work here, he created my food diary with me that my clients still use. My website is a guy that I met in Republic of Work in Cork. Literally every element of my business, I think, has been affected by some support or comment or recommendation.
That's brilliant to hear, because I think that is the unique side of Ludgate, is that we're kind of that brokerage. It's the people that you meet here, people you can liaise with, you can avail of their services, or they may just have an idea that
this is it, or they're in business too.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So all of that stuff, I think, has been crazy invaluable.
Good. So HappyWeight, then what does the next 12 months look like for HappyWeight? Have you new programs, new customers coming on board? What's the goals?
Well, I've just got a new office in Cork. So I was based in Cork for the last few years. Then I was I got all swept up in that working from home vibe. Did a year of it, not for me. I want to put on the dresses, I want to put on the heels, I want to see my clients in person. I know we're probably the generation who should be up for Zoom and all the rest of it, but I'm I just don't think you can beat face-to-face therapy. I just don't. So I've got a new office at 6 Camden Place in Cork City. So I'm really looking forward to seeing my clients in person, and I'm also going to be starting group work. So like kind of almost like 6-week group work sessions for people who want support, maybe people who are overeaters or binge eaters, and kind of almost like a support and education group.
Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to all of that too.
Gosh, exciting times ahead. So
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
I also have series 2 of my podcast coming out, and yeah, I have some ideas for online courses, so we'll
Brilliant.
see.
So how do people get in contact with you?
HappyWeight.ie.
HappyWeight.ie.
Yes.
Aoife, thank you so much for joining us today. That was incredible.
Thanks so much, Fiona.
Thank you.